If you keep backyard chickens, there is a good chance your flock has been exposed to internal parasites at some point. Not because you are a bad keeper, but because chickens that live on soil are constantly in contact with worm eggs through the ground they scratch, the insects they eat, and the droppings of other birds. It is one of the most common health challenges in poultry worldwide. The good news? There are several natural ingredients, many already in your kitchen or garden, that experienced poultry keepers have used for generations to support gut health and help manage parasite loads. In this video, we will walk through each one honestly, what the evidence actually says, how to use them correctly, and when natural remedies are not enough and you need to call a vet. This is Farm Inside TV. Let's get into it. Before we talk about remedies, we need to understand what we are actually dealing with, because different worms live in different parts of the digestive system and cause different types of damage. Roundworms, Ascaridia galli, the most common intestinal worm in chickens worldwide. They live in the small intestine and can grow up to 12 centimeters long. They compete directly with your bird for nutrition, absorbing the nutrients your chicken should be getting from feed. Cecal worms, Heterachus gallinarum. These live in the ceca, the blind pouches of the large intestine. They are particularly important because they carry the organism responsible for blackhead disease, a condition that is especially fatal in turkeys and can seriously affect chickens as well. Capillary worms, also called hairworms, Capillaria species. These are tiny, nearly invisible to the naked eye, but they cause serious damage to the lining of the digestive tract, leading to weight loss, poor absorption of nutrients, and anemia. Tapeworms, Devania and Raeliatina species, transmitted through intermediate hosts, beetles, slugs, snails, and earthworms. They attach to the intestinal wall and cause progressive malnutrition. Now, identifying exactly which species is present in your flock ideally requires a fecal float test from your veterinarian. That is the only truly accurate method. But the supportive practices we will cover today work broadly to promote gut health across all of these. Here are the signs that should put you on alert. Some of these are easy to miss, especially in a large flock, so make a habit of observing your birds individually, regularly. First, an unexplained drop in egg production. If your hens were laying consistently and output drops without any change in daylight, diet, or season, a high worm burden is one of the top causes. Second, weight loss despite normal appetite. Run your hand along your chicken's keel bone, that is, the breastbone. If it feels sharp and prominent, your bird is underweight. A bird eating well but losing body condition is often losing nutrition to internal parasites. Third, pale comb and wattles. A healthy chicken has a bright red comb. Paleness indicates anemia, a sign that parasites may be affecting the intestinal lining and reducing blood health. Fourth, persistent diarrhea or abnormal droppings. Watery, foamy, or greenish droppings that continue for several days can indicate intestinal inflammation caused by worm damage. Fifth, lethargy and isolation. A bird sitting puffed up, separated from the flock, reluctant to move or eat, is a bird telling you something is wrong. Internal parasites are a common cause. Sixth, worms visible in droppings. If you see small white or tan threads like worms in fresh droppings, that is a serious infestation and requires immediate veterinary attention. Do not rely on natural remedies alone at this stage. Seventh, slow growth in young birds. Chicks and pullets with heavy worm loads grow noticeably slower than their flockmates, a sign of nutrient competition. If you are seeing 2 or more of these signs in your flock, consult your vet first. Now, let's go through each natural remedy carefully. I want to be straightforward with you. None of these have been proven to eliminate worm infestations in chickens through large-scale controlled trials. What they do offer is this: traditional use across many cultures, some promising early research, and practical benefits for gut health and overall flock resilience. Think of them as supportive tools, not replacements for veterinary care when a real problem exists. The first, pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds contain a compound called cucurbitacin, which has been studied for antiparasitic effects in traditional medicine contexts and some animal studies. The proposed mechanism is that cucurbitacin may cause temporary paralysis in certain intestinal worms, allowing them to be expelled through normal digestion. However, direct evidence in chickens is limited. Pumpkin seeds should be viewed as a supportive addition to your flock's diet, rather than a reliable standalone treatment. How to offer them: raw, unsalted, unroasted seeds, whole or lightly crushed. Offer as a regular treat, 2 to 3 times per week. Splitting a whole pumpkin and letting your chickens eat freely is an easy and cost-effective method. They enjoy it, and it adds variety to their diet. The second, apple cider vinegar. This is one of the most popular remedies in backyard chicken keeping, and one of the most misunderstood. Let's be clear about what ACV can and cannot do. There is no scientific evidence that ACV kills intestinal worms or creates a gut environment hostile enough to eliminate parasites. That claim is widely repeated online, but it is not supported by current research. What it may genuinely offer: ACV supports digestive health and may improve nutrient absorption. It has mild antimicrobial properties that can help keep water cleaner. Some keepers report improvements in flock condition, though this is likely due to overall gut health support rather than direct antiparasitic action. How to use it? Use only raw, unfiltered, organic ACV, the kind with the mother visible. Add 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, approximately 1 tablespoon per 4 liters. Many keepers prefer using ACV intermittently rather than continuously, although research on long-term effects remains limited. One important note: use only in plastic or rubber waterers. ACV corrodes metal. The third, garlic. Garlic contains allicin, a compound with well-documented antimicrobial and antifungal properties in laboratory settings. Some studies have explored garlic's potential against Ascaridia galli in chickens and shown some early promise. However, the evidence remains limited in scale and consistency. Garlic may support immune function and general gut health, but claiming it reliably eliminates worm infestations in chickens would be overstating what the current science shows. How to use it? Crush approximately 4 to 5 raw garlic cloves and place them in 1 gallon of water overnight. Offer this as drinking water for 3 to 4 consecutive days. Alternatively, finely mince fresh garlic and mix into feed, roughly half a teaspoon per bird per day for short periods. And for anyone wondering, at these dosages, garlic flavor does not transfer to eggs. Multiple studies have confirmed this. The fourth, diatomaceous earth, and this one requires an important correction to claims you may have seen in other videos. Food-grade diatomaceous earth is made from fossilized diatoms, microscopic organisms with silica-based shells. The fine particles have sharp edges at the microscopic level that damage the outer layer of insects and external parasites on contact, causing them to dehydrate. For external parasites, DE works well. Adding it to your chicken's dust bath is a legitimate and effective practice for managing mites and lice. However, for internal parasites, studies have not consistently shown that feeding DE to chickens effectively controls worms inside the digestive tract. The stomach's moisture and the digestive process neutralize the mechanical action that makes DE effective externally. Use DE confidently for external parasite management, but do not rely on it as an internal dewormer. And always, food grade only. Pool grade and filter grade DE are not safe for animals or humans. The bag must clearly state food grade. The fifth, wormwood, Artemisia absinthium. Wormwood has been used in traditional herbal medicine across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East as an anti-parasitic herb for both humans and animals for centuries. It contains compounds called sesquiterpene lactones, including absinthin, which have shown anti-parasitic activity in some laboratory and field studies involving poultry. Research published in Veterinary Parasitology has explored Artemisia-based treatments with some positive findings. The evidence is more promising for wormwood than for several other remedies on this list, but it still falls into the category of supportive and traditional rather than clinically proven at the level of approved dewormers. How to use it? Hang small, fresh, or dried bunches inside the coop. Some chickens may peck at the herb naturally. It also acts as a natural insect deterrent, helping to reduce flies in the coop environment. Dried herb can be mixed lightly into feed, a small pinch per bird, 2 to 3 times per week.
Important caution. Wormwood contains thujone, a compound that in large or repeated doses can cause neurological effects and toxicity. Use only at the amounts described here. Do not use continuously for extended periods without breaks. When in doubt, less is more. The sixth, fermented feed, and this one has some of the strongest evidence for improving gut health and feed efficiency. When you ferment chicken feed in water for 48 to 72 hours, naturally occurring beneficial bacteria, primarily lactobacillus species, multiply significantly, creating a probiotic-rich, mildly acidic feed. Research supports the benefits of fermented feed for chickens, including improved feed conversion, better gut microbiome diversity, and reduced presence of harmful bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter. Direct evidence that it eliminates internal worms is limited, but a healthy gut with strong beneficial bacteria populations is genuinely better equipped to resist and manage parasites over time. Think of it as building your flock's foundation. How to make it? Take your regular dry feed, cover with clean water 2 inches above the feed level. Leave in a covered container at room temperature for 48 to 72 hours. Stir once daily. When it smells pleasantly sour, like sourdough bread, it is ready. Cost? Nothing extra. Just planning ahead.
If this kind of practical, honest poultry content is useful to you, subscribe to Farm Inside TV. We cover poultry health, farm management, and sustainable practices every week. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss a video. Now, the part that matters most and gets talked about least. No remedy, natural or chemical, will solve a worm problem long-term if the birds are living in a contaminated environment. Worm eggs are remarkably resilient. Some species survive in soil for months, sometimes over a year. Every time your chickens scratch the same ground day after day, they are re-ingesting eggs from their own previous droppings.
The cycle is called auto-reinfection, and it is the primary reason worm loads build up in confined flocks. Rotational grazing is one of the most effective management practices you can adopt. Move your flock to a fresh area every 3 to 4 weeks. Leave the vacated area to rest. Sunlight, drying, and long rest periods help reduce the number of viable worm eggs in the environment, though some eggs can persist for extended periods regardless. Keep the coop dry. Moisture is essential for worm egg survival and development. A coop with good ventilation and dry litter significantly reduces the number of viable eggs in the environment. Replace wet or compacted litter promptly. Raise feeders and waterers off the ground. Droppings contaminating feed and water is one of the main transmission routes. Feeders positioned at the bird's back height dramatically reduce this. Manage manure properly. Remove droppings from concentrated areas regularly. Hot composting, reaching an internal temperature of 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, kills worm eggs effectively. Properly composted manure is then safe for your garden. And be aware of intermediate hosts. Tapeworms require carriers: beetles, slugs, snails, and earthworms. In flocks with known tapeworm issues, managing very wet areas of the run reduces slug and snail populations. Let me bring this together honestly. The natural practices we have covered today are genuinely useful as part of a thoughtful management approach. They support gut health, they add dietary variety, they make your coop environment less hospitable to parasites, and generations of poultry keepers around the world have found value in them. But they are supportive tools, not guaranteed treatments. To recap what we covered: internal parasites, Roundworms, cecal worms, hairworms, and tapeworms are a reality for chickens that live on soil. Knowing the warning signs early is your first defense. The natural tools that genuinely support your flock: pumpkin seeds and garlic for dietary support, apple cider vinegar for water hygiene and digestion, wormwood as a traditional supportive herb, used carefully, food-grade DE in the dust bath for external parasites, and fermented feed for long-term gut health.
Manage your environment. Know your flock. Use natural support consistently. And do not hesitate to call your vet when you need to. That is what responsible poultry keeping looks like. This is Farm Inside TV. If this video helped you, please subscribe to Farm Inside TV and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Drop a comment below and tell us, which of these practices do you already use? We read every comment. Thank you for watching. Take care of your birds.